Hello, everyone. This is Evan McKenzie. I'm the instructor for this course, American Introduction to American Government and Politics, Political Science 101. This is just a brief introductory video that will explain the course and how the course is structured. Um, I'm going to go over it's about 16 slides. I'm just going to go over the what the course is really about. It's not full of content, but it's a lot of material that you really need to know. My name is Evan McKenzie, as I said. I'm a professor of political science, and I'm also the head of the political science department, and I'm also a member of the faculty at the UIC School of Law, where in the summers I teach at the law school and the real estate program. Here in the political science department, which is my main function here, I teach courses in American government, and urban politics, and law. I teach typically a course called the Judicial Process, which is Political Science 258, very popular with pre-law students. I teach, of course, American government, urban politics, and other things. But on the research side, I study condominium and homeowner associations, private governments, as we sometimes call them, and housing policy, privatization, and so forth. So I'm kind of an urban politics or urban studies person in my research life. I was born in a small town in rural Maine, a town of 900 people, and when I was a child, we moved to Southern California, so I grew up in Southern California, went to law school at the University of California at Los Angeles, and I have a PhD in political science from the University of Southern California, so I'm very much a Southern California sort of product in that sense, educationally. I practiced law for 10 years in Southern California. I'm also licensed in the state of Illinois, so I'm licensed in Illinois and California, but of course I don't practice law anymore because I'm too busy doing this. So I write books and articles on the privatization of public life, and so these are three of them. Privatopia, which is about homeowner and condominium associations as private governments, and then a couple of other books. The most recent one is Private Metropolis, which I wrote with some of my colleagues here at UIC, or edited, I should say, edited with some of my colleagues here at UIC. And it's about the privatization of infrastructure in major cities, including Chicago. Now, reason I'm doing this in some detail is because, as Boromir is explaining here, often students do not read the syllabus, and I really, really want you to do that. You really, really need to read the syllabus in this course as soon as possible so you understand what's going on. It is a source of great confusion when people don't read the syllabus at the start of the course, because there's a lot of things that I can't really explain, and your discussion leaders, Troy Gaston and Amir Toomey, will not be able to explain to you. We don't have time. Those things are in the syllabus, so you really need to read it. But let me just give you a quick overview, okay? The structure of the course. Now, this is a blended course, which I'll explain in a minute, but you're not having lectures in a classroom where all 150 of you will be in the same room. It won't work like that. It's a blended course, meaning part of it is online, part of it is live. For my part of the course, which is the lecture sections, this is basically being done in an online format. So there are narrated PowerPoints like this one and required readings. They are on the course Blackboard site in the topics folders that you will find under the materials tab. Okay. Now, I'm going to be opening those folders up, the topics folders, as we go. They're not going to all open up, not all 15 of them will open up at once. I'm going to, I'll explain this in a minute in more detail, but I may need to make some changes because we're in the middle of an election season. So I'm not going to open everything all at once, but it'll always be open in time for you to read it. And so the required readings are right there. They're in PDF format, and there are videos and narrated PowerPoint videos. You'll hear from me in the form of these narrated PowerPoint videos like this one, and there are other videos as well. All the students are additionally going to read one book. So the only thing you need to acquire borrow or whatever or share is one book. Everyone does one book report in a group. That is, everyone reads all or part of the same book, and you put together a presentation of that group presentation that you'll present in your discussion sections on the book. So it's a collective project. You'll get an individual grade for your short paper that you turn in, and you'll get a group grade for the PowerPoint presentation and live presentation that you do in your discussion section. Your discussion leaders will explain more about that. Now understand, as I said, I might change some of the readings. Why? We are in the middle of one of the most important presidential election cycles really in American history. The consequences of this election for your lives, depending upon which way it goes, are enormous. And there's a lot of strange things happening in this campaign. We saw that President Biden stepping down, Vice President Harris becoming the nominee. That all happened in just a few weeks. Nobody was really expecting that. There could be other changes. And so in light of that, in light of just the fact that it's such an important election and there are so many things happening, I'm just going to wait just a bit on this before we finalize readings each week. And I may change them at the last minute. But I'm going to open up everything as soon as I can. So as I said, this is a blended or hybrid course, meaning that you are registered for two sections. The lecture section, that's this one, fully online, asynchronous, no classroom. As I said, I've recorded the materials. The articles are up for you to read are up there. But the discussion sections on Friday, those are live. Those are live and on campus. You're all registered for one of them with one of our two TA discussion leaders, Amir Toomey and Troy Gaston, and they will be taking attendance at the discussion sections. Those are mandatory attendance sections, okay? So don't miss those. They are very important. They're part of the course. We are grading you in part on your attendance. This is just the catalog description of the course. I'm just always put this up here. It's in the syllabus as well. Introduction to American Government and Politics, Political Ideas, Political Behavior, the Institutions of Government, and Public Policy. So I'll show you in a minute when I do the overview how that works, but that's the basic catalog description. By the time we're done with this, you should really understand how government, particularly the federal government, the national government, impacts your daily life. You should be clear on some of the basic debates and issues that are going on in government and throughout political history in the United States. You should be able to understand the institutions of our government, all of them, and the institutions of our politics. And as you'll see, that those are two different things. Government and politics are two different things. You should certainly understand the whole idea of the three different branches of government and how they interact. We'll be explaining that in some detail. And I hope that you will have a firm grasp of all the different ways you can become involved in politics, from not just voting, but volunteering and other things. In other words, what are the forms of political participation? How do individuals and groups affect the outcomes, the public policies of our system? So that's what we're going to be covering. You should be able to do all those things. Now, the overview, I've changed this. This is in a different order than the way I usually teach this course, and I'm doing that because it's an election year. So I want to jump into politics earlier than we usually do, so you'll understand as much as possible what's happening between now and November 5th. We'll start, it's in 4 units. The first unit is just a really simple thing, the introduction, which is the next video. What does the U.S. government do for you? Why should you care about politics? It's a video, you'll see it. And some of the basic theories about politics and governments. Then we go into the political institutions of our country, starting off with political parties and campaigns, elections, and voting. Why? Because that's what we're doing this fall, and so I want to jump right into that. Interest groups, which are organized interests like professional interests, corporations, etc., forming the groups that try to influence our politics. We'll talk about public opinion and how it is measured, public opinion polling and so forth. And we'll also be talking about media and political communication. By the way, there's a full schedule at the end of the syllabus that tells you exactly when and how we're covering each of these topics. I'm just summarizing it. But after these first 2 units, we're going to have the midterm exam. And then we will go to Unit 3 and 4, which are government and public policy. And that's where we'll get into government, the founding of the country, and how that affected the shape of our Constitution that we still live under. So it's not just ancient history. This is the history that shaped the Constitution that we live under to this day. We'll talk about Congress, the presidency, the federal bureaucracy, and the federal judiciary, the judicial branch, including the Supreme Court. And then we'll wrap up the course by the unit on public policy, where we'll talk about, and public policy means the things that government does. Not the things that the institutions of government do, sort of the output of government, the laws and policies that come out of the government, civil rights and liberties, economic and social policy, and foreign and military policy. And then we'll have the final exam, which is not comprehensive. The midterm covers units 1 and 2. The final covers units 3 and 4. The final is not comprehensive. So this is how the grades are calculated. Basically, attendance and discussion, 10%. Attendance and participation, I should say, in discussion, that's 10%. The midterm and the final are each worth 35% of your grade. We're going to do a film paper where you will watch a movie from a list that I'm going to give you, and you will answer certain questions about it that will be given to you. Basically, we're going to look at a list of films and pick one and analyze it for its political content. And then you'll do your group and individual project. That's the book report project. And there will also be extra credit opportunities. I almost always do that. I expect there'll be a number of them during the semester. As I said, we'll take role in the discussion sections. It is very important that you attend all the discussion sections. And be polite, be civil. I know it's an election year, feelings can run hot, but be civil and polite to your colleagues, your fellow students. We're all, you may think that they're crazy and they may think you're crazy, but we all need to be very considerate of each other as people, but we can feel free to challenge each other's ideas. There's no problem there. You can disagree about anything any of us says. That's not a problem at all. Just be respectful of the person when you do it. Okay? No, do not use your phones and so forth unless it's course related. Some people take notes on their phone. I'm going to leave this to you and your discussion leader. They're going to be regulating things. But don't disrupt the discussion sections and pay attention to what they say to you. It'll give you usually a warning, but we want civility, participation, and attendance in all the discussion sections from you. The exams, I'll explain them briefly, midterm and final. They're both going to be 50% multiple choice and 50% essay. The final exam is, as I said, is not comprehensive. The multiple choice questions will come from everything. All the readings, the lectures, everything. Anything's fair game. 50 questions on each exam. The essay questions, I will give you all the possible essay questions in advance. There's usually about 14 or 15 of them. That'll be a study guide, but that's only for the study guide is for the essay portion. It will consist of all the questions that I can choose from, and I will pick 2 or 3 of those 14 or 15, and they will be on the exam on the day you take the exam, and you will pick one from the 2 or 3 that I give you. So no surprises. The film paper, again, you're going to get detailed instructions on how to do this, but basically watch a movie and write a 2-page paper analyzing the film in terms of its political message. I'll tell you exactly how to do it. The instructions are very detailed. I think it's a really interesting assignment and one that students normally enjoy. The group projects, as I said, there's a group component and individual component. The group component is you work with the people in your group to do an in-class presentation at your discussion section of the book and its basic content. Usually people break it up into sections and each of them takes a part of a book. And then you turn in an individual paper on your portion of it. Okay? So everyone's participating. You need to be there the day that this is done in the discussion section with your group. You are there with the group and you do it in class with a PowerPoint or Google Slides presentation, okay? But you also, that same day, you will be turning in your individual paper. That's yours, which describes and it summarizes what you got out of the assignment. You will be signing up for these in the discussion section. You will you will pick a book in a week. Each book is done on a particular week. Again, take a look at the course schedule. It's all on the course schedule. The extra credit, we have lots of events, lots of stuff going on in the political science department. I'll often put those on the list if I think they're things that you would understand and enjoy. The university has events, and who knows, there may be a number of different opportunities, speakers, etc. Normally, I give you up to 10 points, and normally what you'll do is turn in a one-page paper, confirmed that if we can confirm attendance, we will. That is, if there's a sign-in sheet or something of that sort. But main thing is you'll respond, write a short reaction paper, one page, summarizing what you saw and what you got out of it. And that is worth up to 10 points when the whole thing is completed. So that's basically it. It's attendance and then a short paper that reports on your attendance. Now, I'm not going to go through all the policies. You've got to read the syllabus to understand there's a lot of policies, but here's some of them. We don't want late papers, okay? Late papers, late assignments, make-up exams, we don't do this unless it is a documented emergency. So number one, it has to be an emergency. And number two, it has to be documented. That means somebody else documents what the emergency was. Okay, so don't be missing the exam and then come in and say, I want to take the makeup, because there isn't one, okay? And if you can't be present for something, and you know that in advance, you can take an exam early. We do that sort of thing all the time. You can turn in assignments early. We don't mind that. But just not doing something and then expecting to be able to turn it in late, I'm sorry, we cannot do that with a class of 150 people. It doesn't work. And it's not fair to the people who turned everything in on time. Academic integrity, please read that. And it's discussed in your syllabus in some length. What I mean by that, plagiarism, turning in work created by artificial intelligence, Chat GPT or whatever, where you didn't do the writing. Well, that's a problem. Your written work has to be your own, all of it. Religious holidays, you need to notify us up front. Disability accommodations, this is all described in the syllabus, but please, go to the Disability Resource Center, get that letter that they'll give you, and they'll send us the letter and tell us how we need to accommodate whatever disability you might have. We're happy to do that, but we need to know you're registered with the DRC, and we need to know what the accommodations are so we can be sure to give you what you need. The course schedule and the assignments are all on the syllabus. On the last few pages of the syllabus is the course schedule. Read that over. You'll see what all the policies are, what the two written assignments, the book report, brief paper, and the film paper, all going to be described there. And there will be special handouts for the film paper with the list of films. That's coming soon.